Hello and welcome to the Swinging Bump Podcast. Today we have myself, Wes, and James, and Toby may show up later in the show. We are not absolutely sure with that guy. Who knows what can happen. But anyways, we got a big show for you guys today. I'm excited about it. Got some interesting trivia. We will talk NBA, NCAA football, NFL, MLB. I think that just about covers it. But it's going to be a fun day. I'm really
Pretty much everything.
Now, a little bit of an announcement. We have officially reached the number of listeners where Macklemore's representatives is the way it's said on the YouTube page and on Spotify. And John Fogerty's representatives have said that we can no longer use their music without paying them royalties. I knew that this day would come eventually.
Big time.
Now, John Fogerty actually, their people said, you can still use the music, but if you ever start to monetize, then you can't make any money from it. Meanwhile, Macklemore said we just can't use the song at all. So I was like,
shocking,
all right.
because Macklemore is actually a really chill guy.
Dude,
I get money.
He probably has he has nothing to do with this.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
I say probably. I mean,
He's like, that Swinging Bunt podcast coming for my money.
I listened to them once. They're awful. I hate them.
Don't worry. When you suck, you can use people's music, but when you do good, you cannot.
Yep. But anyways,
So stupid.
so if you or someone that you know likes making music or would like to have some of their music that they already have put into our show, I think what we'll do over the next few episodes is we'll just do some test runs. We'll throw some music out there and see what the people like, see what fits into the way our show flows, and we'll just try a few different people out. And if you have anyone, send us your music and we'll see what works out. Without any further ado, this is the Swing Bump Podcast. I will have some intro song in here right now. Don't know what it is, but we'll see what it is. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into the news from the sports world. So far this last week or so, since we last recorded, Joe Kelly attacked a few Astros. He missed, but he was definitely trying to hit them. He went after Bregman and Correa and Altuve, right?
Just Bregman and Correa.
Just Bregman and Correa. And then he struck out Correa and proceeds to yell at him and taunt him, give him a nice little poochy face. I personally loved it. I think Joe Kelly's a hero. I know, Wes, you're not. Of course, Wes isn't a fan of the Astros, but he got suspended 8 games, which 8 out of 60 games. I mean, that's over 10%. It's what, 15% of the – no, almost 15% of the year he's suspended for, which I think is a little ridiculous, especially since he didn't even hit anybody. But it's
repeat offender.
That's 8 games more than all the Astros got suspended for combined for cheating and winning a World Series. So to me, I think that it's a little bit messed up, but of course you can't go injuring people. He didn't hit anybody, but he could have severely injured someone. So whatever, it is what it is. We got a lot to talk about, so we'll continue to move on.
Hey, well, I have one thing to say about him.
Yes.
This is actually like mind-blowing, but you remember what he was popular from during the lockdown? What he was the most popular thing he did?
Oh yeah, working on a changeup and throwing it through his window at his house.
Yes. Okay, so I was listening to the local sports channel here, and they were talking about how it was a setup for what he did against the Astros.
He was playing the long game.
Yes, and they were like, so he can go back to that and say, look, I might struggle with my control.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that is genius. That's actually probably true.
And I saw the same thing. It very well could be true. Just think about it. You're on quarantine and your team just got knocked out of the World Series by the Houston Astros, who are confirmed to have been cheating, and they received no punishment for it.
Oh my gosh, I'm not even. No, I can't even say anything to that. Received no punishment.
The players had no punishment. The players.
We're still talking about this. Okay.
We always will.
All right.
The team received a punishment, but the players, they get their World Series and they have no punishment on them whatsoever.
I agree they should have got punishment, but
right.
Like we are past this, right?
No.
Joe Kelly is a repeat offender. This is not the first time he's thrown at a guy. He threw it a 96-mile-an-hour fastball at Alex Bregman's head.
The thing is, too, Wes,
on 3-0 count.
The thing is the season just started, so people are just now getting their chances to get hacks at him, especially being the Dodgers. You know they want to hit them. They're mad. Okay. In baseball, when someone ticks you off, you hit them, and you get punished for it.
You don't throw for someone's head, ever.
It is.
That's how guys'
I'm not saying it's okay.
Careers end.
I'm not saying it's okay.
There's a guy on the Astros, up-and-coming shortstop. I forget his name.
Not that.
Dickie Thon. He was an up-and-coming shortstop. He was going to be the next great shortstop in the National League. Takes a hit to the head, out for 3 seasons, was never the same player, ever. That will ruin careers. If he would have hit Bregman in the head and would have ended his career or killed him, this wouldn't have been an 8-game suspension. And it could have.
I'm not justifying that what he did is okay.
You just said it's okay.
No, this is not what I was.
You said everyone wants to do it.
If you would have listened, everyone does want to do it. Everyone hates the Astros because they cheated to win. So that's not going to change. People are going to keep hitting them. It doesn't make it okay. Hit someone in the hip, hit someone in the back. You don't hit someone in the head. I agree with you there. But the point that I was trying to make is Joe Kelly was trying to say, all right, if I can practice and throw this ball at my window, then I can act like it was an accident when I hit the Dodgers later. So, anyways, moving on from that, no, you never hit someone in the head. Do I think that the Astros should have gotten punished? Absolutely. Does Joe Kelly need to punish them by hitting them in the head? No. Did he hit anyone in the head? Also no.
Tried.
So, he may have tried. He also may have just tried to scare him. I think he has a little more control.
96 at the head on 3-0 count.
Moving on. So, Yoenis Cespedes, 2018, got injured falling off his horse or stepping in a hole or whatever it was.
It was both, actually.
Yeah. And he didn't finish the season. Then he didn't play at all in 2019. He comes back here in 2020 and starting off pretty okay. He hit a home run, I think, on opening day.
He's the reason why they won their opening day game.
Yeah. And then on Sunday, their Mets are looking for him, and they're like, hey, we've got Yoenis here in the lineup. Where is he, guys? Oh, I don't know. Had anyone hear from him?
He packed everything out of his hotel room. So
no one could find him.
He got out of there.
He just went home, told nobody. His agent didn't know nothing. They finally get a hold of him. He's like, I opted out of the season. Okay, I guess that's how that works. So Cespedes will no longer be playing for the Mets this year.
And you can't even – the worst part is he can't be punished for it because of the stupid coronavirus.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Sadder news for the Atlanta Braves. James, while you were sleeping last night, Mike Soroka tore his ACL.
Achilles, but that's okay.
Achilles, I'm sorry. When he went to cover first base. It was devastating. I mean, he's the ace of your team, and I think you're a World Series favorite or potential team to get to the World Series. And losing your ace is just huge. It's just very similar to the Astros' chances. I mean, they weren't the favorite to go back to the World Series, but they were a team that could be there. Now both of you guys looks like those chances are severely hurt.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I hope the Braves still can. They're my favorite National League team to root for this year, and they have been for the last few. So I hope that they can pull something together here, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Something that I wanted to bring up really short here in the news is the Los Angeles Lakers have clinched the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, but that is not looking like a stellar team necessarily. They were outscored by the Raptors 35-16 in the last 10 minutes of the game. What's up, James? Oh, you're good. James, you're good. We can talk without you.
I didn't know if you could hear me.
No, you're good. Yeah. So anyways, the Lakers had a 4-point lead at the 10.5-minute mark left in the game, and they squandered it and lost. So do they just look rusty? I'm not sure exactly what it is. But they did win last night against who were they playing last night? The Jazz?
The Jazz, yep.
Yeah. So, but they've clinched up the number 1 seed. So a lot of teams, I'm sure, are envious of that. But what do you think, Wes? You probably watched more games than we have. How do you feel about the Lakers so far in these seeding games? They have to play the Clippers tonight, correct? Tonight being Tuesday.
I don't think they play the Clippers. They played the Clippers the first game of the season and actually beat them, which I think it was a positive thing. The Clippers are missing a few players, but LeBron wasn't at the top of his game. So I would think LeBron's facing a little bit of rust for sure. Anthony Davis in that Raptors game was average.
What do you have? Oh, he had 46 yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, but which is what I was about to say. Like, he had a huge bounce back against the Jazz. But I think it's just a little bit of rust. I think the Lakers are one of the top contenders for sure. I like them a whole lot more than the Bucks right now. The Bucks just got beat by the Brooklyn Nets with nobody on their team. Like, Karis LeVert was not playing. Joe Harris, not that y'all know who that is. But y'all know. I meant Jake. Whoa.
Karis LeVert is a stud Wolverine, so clearly he's one of the 7 players I know of in that NBA.
But on the Brooklyn Nets, how many players can you name, Jake?
Kyrie, Kevin Durant.
Hurt.
Dang it. That's it. Karis LeVert.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a good point because there's no one on the Nets. So the Bucks got beat by them today at full power. So, I like the Lakers. I think the Lakers are up there. They're not my pick out of the West, but I think they're up there.
All right, moving on. Next, we have Shane Bieber in the first 2 games of the season tied the record for the most strikeouts ever by a starting pitcher in his first 2 starts at 27, which is insanely impressive. Indians and Reds are facing each other this week in a 2-game series in Cincinnati, then a 2-game series in Cleveland. And so far, after the game just now ended a few minutes ago with Bieber pitching, I think he had 8 strikeouts, or did he have 9? I believe he had 9 strikeouts in 8 innings. So that brings him to a total of 36 strikeouts in 3 games. I don't think that is the record anymore. I'll have to check it. But it's interesting that the Indians and the Reds are the 2 best starting pitching staff so far this season, and that has continued up through this series as well. Now, the Indians have the lowest ERA in baseball, and they also have the lowest on-base plus slugging percentage as an offense. So the best pitching and the worst offense, and it has led to a 6-6 season so far. So
sounds like a Nolan Ryan team.
Oh, it's been so frustrating, James or Wes. You have no idea. I've watched every game, and I just want to pull my eyes out. It's so painful. I mean, they cannot hit a breaking ball whatsoever. Even today, we scored 4 runs. The first 2 runs were scored on 3 walks, 2 errors, and 1 hit in the inning. And the second was a meatball fastball belt high on the outside part of the plate that Franmil Reyes hit out for a 2-run homer, which is his first home run of the season. Our team is just not playing well as an offense, but the pitching keeps coming in and throwing 8 shutout innings, giving up maybe a 1 home run, and we lose 1-0.
And you're probably the best closer in baseball right now.
Brad Hand?
Krizak, whatever. If he would close.
Karinchak. Karinchak's killing it. He hasn't allowed a run. He's gotten us 1 save. I think he has 3 holds. But man, I love watching that kid. He's a rookie. I love him. I love him so much.
Y'all remember, way back in the day, I said Brad Hand could falter and Karinchak would take his place.
Oh, yeah. I was totally agreeing with you on that as well, because Brad Hand's throwing 93 miles per hour right now with a slider and / curve and not looking great. So Indians, I think, will make the playoffs, but they've got to get their offense rolling. This Thursday, the NFL has set the deadline to opt out of the season. Now, I'm not so sure how much I buy into this, because I feel like if players decide they don't want to play, they're just going to say, look, my family can't take this. What if like someone in your family gets sick or something, like an older
I'm sure
person?
There's like a stipulation with it.
Yeah, probably. But I think this probably just says, look, if you opt out, you can still do it, but you're going to miss out on a portion of your contract or something.
Right. That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
That's all the news I have for today. Anything else? Matt Stafford is back on the field practicing. The Lions issued a statement today. They were pretty cranky about him. So what had happened is in their initial testing, what had happened was he had gotten a negative testing. Then he had gotten a second negative. He then gets a positive test, which is later proven to be a false positive. No one in his family has any symptoms. His whole family was tested. Everyone he came in contact with was tested. Not one trace of the coronavirus was in any of his contacts. So he has a false positive, but what he then has to do is he has to wait 2 weeks and get 3 negative tests in that time. So he has now had 6 tests, all of which have been negative, along with 1 false positive, and has missed almost 2 weeks of practice time because of it. And the Lions are pretty angry about it, and I would be too. I understand you're trying to keep people safe, but maybe they could possibly look back into the way that they are doing their testing, because having a guy miss out that many weeks of practice is just not the way you want it to go. I mean, imagine if that's during the season and the guy never even had contracted it. He did nothing wrong, didn't come in contact with anyone that he shouldn't have, and then boom, he's missing 2 weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Now, does he need it in training camp? Matt Stafford? Probably not. But I'd say
honestly,
the offense, the other players in the offense probably need it more than him.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift might really be beneficial with him being there.
Yeah, he may not need that much practice to get ready for the season, but the other guys need to get ready with him. So I totally agree with you there. All right, let me sip this tea real quick.
I know we're going to talk about this later, but it might be better to talk about it now.
Sure.
The smart trackers for the NFL.
Yeah. So explain this to me, because I actually don't know what this concept was.
Okay, so if you come to a stadium or you come to your practice set or whatever, the first thing you have to do is you have to put the smartwatch on. And the smartwatch is created, it's GPS based, and every single person has to wear one. And so that way, as you're walking around, as you're pricing, they can tell who you've been in contact with, whether that be, at the practice field, in the showers, or just wherever in the cafeteria. They can see who you're around. So that way, when you test positive, if you test positive, they can see exactly who they need to go to see who's in danger of having the coronavirus. It's just basically a way to speed it up.
So contact tracing.
Basically.
Yeah.
But it was way more advanced than that. That was the very light version.
This is going to be very in-depth GPS, like almost like you're just walking around with a GPS on you that's very accurate at all times within like 5 feet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if some of these baseball players should use it so they don't go to the casino like the Cardinals or the club like the Marlins.
Yeah, it's so frustrating that teams are doing this.
I have noticed with the Braves alone, is that they've really not even high-fived anymore. They're like touching hats together. So it's been good that they've changed a little bit.
I'm so torn because I just want baseball to be back to normal. I want everything to be back to normal. And I just hate all this stuff so much. But I understand that absolutely is not going to happen until this completely goes away or we get a vaccination or something. So players and coaches, they need to be responsible to say, look, this sucks, but we need to just stay away from everything for just 60 games. Just do the 60 games. Don't go to the clubs, casinos. Sit back, have some fun with each other. Go back to your hotel rooms, play some video games, whatever it takes just to – look, Warzone's at an all-time high these days. Hop on. Join the party. The water's fine. West just got started. But the thing is these guys are going to casinos in Vegas or wherever they are and then going back to their team. And the Cardinals, they had an outbreak of huge numbers just out of nowhere because a few guys decided to be irresponsible. It just can't happen. It really is driving me nuts.
He came out.
What's that?
Yadier Molina has it.
He does have it?
Yeah, he came out and said it. Sad.
So, and he's old enough to be in the dangerous area.
He's not that old.
All right, Wes, your turn. So what are some takeaways that you have so far in the NBA season? Some surprises? Are the Rockets a favorite? They shot 61 threes the other day in a win. So what do you say?
That's kind of normal for them.
Yeah, but wasn't it a record?
I don't know if it was a record. I think they've shot in the 60s before. But
yeah, they have the record.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
But they're up there. No, I think they've played well in the first couple games. I think a few teams coming back from are a little rusty, and so are the Rockets, without a doubt. But I think they've come out pretty sharp, all in all, compared to other teams. So I wouldn't come out and say that they're a contender, though, because I've seen what the Clippers can do at full strength to them, and they beat us up in the paint, rebounding.
Are there certain teams that you think that they match up against really well compared to others that they don't?
Definitely. I'd say we match up with the Nuggets really well. For some reason, we kill the Nuggets every time.
Which is funny because they're big.
Well, yeah, and then honestly, the Jazz we match up extremely well with because we just completely take Gobert out of the game because we put 4 shooters around, and Gobert has to guard Westbrook, so he has to come out unless he wants to give up, guard Westbrook the whole game. But teams we don't match up well, we don't match up well with the Clippers. The Clippers will kill us every time. And honestly, the Mavericks gave us so much trouble.
Now, the Mavericks are a solid team. They've got Porzingis and Doncic. Is that how you say his name?
Yep,
Doncic. Man, these names are ridiculous.
Wonder Boy.
But anyways, do you think the Mavericks are a serious threat at all?
I don't think they're a serious threat yet. I think they're going to be a tough out. Maybe 6 or 7 games, whatever round they go out. But I don't think they're NBA contender yet, at least not yet.
I think they need one more piece, I feel like.
I thought Jason Terry's still there.
No, he's not.
There's no way.
But
I saw him in a walker the other day.
In the game that they played the Rockets, man, another Michigan guy, Trey Burke, he went off on it. He
34 points.
8 of 10 threes. The dude was he hit 7 in a row. It was just killing us.
I was a freshman in college that year that Michigan went and played Louisville. Or no, that was a different season. Or was it that year? I don't remember. But whatever. The year that Trey Burke went off through that
That's why he's still in the league today. Because of that rookie.
I remember every time you'd be playing basketball in the gym, and every time someone took a deep three, it was just they'd yell, Trey Burke! It was almost like yelling Kobe.
Interesting.
It was the year before you got there, Wes.
Never did that.
It's because it's the year before you got there.
Either.
I'm
That
sorry.
might have been you doing it, Jake.
Very possibly. Maybe that's
all
why I
you
never
Michigan
went
boys.
in. Then we have the ACC schedule and the Pac-12 I want to talk about, NCAA football. So, James, you want to take the lead on the ACC schedule? Is that you or is
Sure.
that Wes? Okay.
But just so you know, all the schedules have come out now.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Okay. And are they all going to be interconference?
No, the Big 12 is going to play one game out of their conference, but the
Each
rest is in
team?
the conference. They play 9 and 1 out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was the Big 12. The ACC is going to do the same thing as that. They're going to play all in, I think, one team out, and then one team has to be from the same state. Which is funny because they say Clemson is not playing South Carolina this year. Well, obviously, before the SEC came out with their schedule.
Okay.
But that includes Notre Dame, which I think is so funny because Notre Dame is literally in the middle of the country. And yet they're part of the ACC this year. So I don't know if Notre Dame's just going to stay down there. I don't know how it's going to work.
Wait.
The purpose is to prevent traveling.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, I know Notre Dame's in the ACC in every sport except for football.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Maybe that's why.
I'm not
Why they're
sure
even
what
in
they'll
it.
do. They might just schedule a bunch of the Big Ten's only playing Big Ten, though.
Yeah, well, Notre Dame's only playing ACC.
But here's the thing.
Are they still going to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Maryland is in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They're Maryland. It's money.
Yeah,
based.
it's so stupid.
Well, anyways, in other news, we'll see what happens with the scheduling. The Pac-12 players have come out, over 400 and something players or 300 and something players, and they have a list of demands that must be met in order for them to have a season, or else they're threatening to set the year out. We know that these players make a ton of money for the league, and there's a very split opinion on whether these players should be paid or not, or that's something that's been talked about for many years now. I think that my personal opinion is that they're getting a lot of compensation in scholarships and in weight training and in food and things. Now, I understand that your family may not be getting that money, and it may not be a fair value to what you are worth to the program, especially in football. An article I read said a study done by personnel at the National College something association, NCPA, National College. I don't remember what it was.
Players Association?
It wasn't Players Association, I don't think. Maybe it was. And Drexel University, they made a study trying to figure out how much each football player is worth in a fair fair market value revenue split. And in the ACC, a player is worth $250,000. In the Big 12, $346,000. Big 10, $412K. Pac-12, $274K, and the SEC, $392K. So, the Big Ten's making the most money. At least that's how much each player would be worth based off of what they bring to the field.
I wonder how they came up with that.
I don't know.
I would like to
There's
see
a lot
how
of
they
math.
That's a really high number.
I'm sure you can look it up. Well, you got to think about it. That TV contracts and revenue for sales.
Each player?
There's
for each sport and each player.
No, this is just college players, football players, just football players.
Yeah, so if we take just college
this
football
is just
players.
Football players, correct.
Okay, well.
No, this is where the problem comes in for me, because what they're saying is for all sports around, all sports in the entire program, right? There are sports that lose money for the college, So, okay, because what the Pac-12 has said is we want every player to get there should be a 50-50 revenue split. So the school keeps 50% of the revenue for that sport, and the other 50% is shared equally among each player. So they wouldn't necessarily get this fair market value that was established by this study. That was just a reference point for me. I'm sure that the money that they would get is probably less than that. Maybe not. I don't know what that exact value would be. But I know that you would, for instance, be getting Michigan players, right, would receive the same value. The quarterback from Michigan would receive the same amount of money as the third-string defensive back at Nebraska, right? Because it said split evenly among every player for that sport, right? Now, I understand where they're coming from is you're not then paying for performance, because paying for performance in amateur sports is illegal in many ways, just like a coach can't pay his player to hit home runs in high school and things like that, right? A coach shouldn't be buying meals for the players. So I'm just saying that maybe that's why they're going that way, because then you're not paying for performance and you're just giving like sort of additional scholarship. But to me, I just kind of feel like they're already getting paid plenty with full ride scholarships.
I heard sorry, Wes, if you want to go, you can go first.
No.
Okay.
I was just scratching.
I was listening to it was a swimmer, I believe she was, and she talked about how, she grew up in a pretty wealthy family and stuff, so she never struggled. But she said she was in the same dorm as the football players, and she said that there was multiple football players that, like, they give them money to eat, but they barely give them any money to eat. So, like, once they got done with their money, they just didn't really – these are the people that are, like, all-stars that are, like –
Do they not get money at do they not get to go to the cafeteria?
I don't know how it worked out, but she was talking about how they always struggled to eat. And, you're not eating, you're playing football. I mean, you're going to get sick. It's going to happen. So
Yeah,
in a sense, maybe they could give them like a credit for food or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be good. That's essential. You got to have food.
Because to me, I understand that these players are making a ton of money for colleges, and I'm not totally against the idea of being paid. Because I think what they should be allowed to do, honestly. Oh, my camera's falling down. Pardon me. In my personal opinion, I think that they should be allowed to monetize their name, right? I think if a player wants to be able to sell merchandise, or if he wants to be able to build his own personal brand, I think he should be allowed to do that. I see no reason that Joe Schmo, who wants to start his own clothing business using his name or sell his own advertisement, shouldn't be allowed to do that, in my personal opinion. If the school doesn't want to directly pay them, I understand that as well, because I love the idea that amateur sports are playing for the love of the game and playing because they love to play the game and they want to have fun. And personally, it's not necessarily true, because they're already working on their career as they're getting ready for the NFL. But most of amateur sports, the players don't ever go in professionally. And I don't want that to change because of the top, 5% that are looking at playing professionally. Now, that was only one of their demands, was money related. We also have several other demands. I pulled out a few, like health insurance for 6 years past their college eligibility, a racial injustice task force, as well as clarity on COVID rules, regulations, and safety implements put in place. What do you guys think about some of those?
I don't understand the health insurance. Why?
So they claim that they are risking their bodies for the school, and that once they are no longer part of the team, their bodies are no longer taken care of, and they then have to pay all these medical bills from the injuries that may have happened while they were on the team.
But they don't have to play. I don't understand that.
Yeah, they don't have to play. But there are players who receive, very strong injuries that can debilitate them well past their eligibility time. And they're then paying those bills for years and years and years, especially if that injury keeps them from going professional. So I think that it's kind of a rare case kind of thing. I mean, you think about the big time pros, they're able to pay for their own health insurance, of course. But I think this kind of takes care of those lower guys who, the punter got his knee taken out and can no longer kick ever again. And he's not going to get his scholarship for college anymore, nor will he be able to kick in the NFL to pay for that insurance, but he still has to pay for the surgery that he had or whatever the therapy, I don't know. But it's just one of those things.
But they're saying that they want health insurance after college, because I'm pretty sure
for 6 years after their college eligibility.
Right, because I'm pretty sure if a player, like a high-profile player, tears his ACL, the school is going to pay for that surgery.
Yeah, I mean, I tore my shoulder, and I didn't get my shoulder paid for by my college.
We went to Maranatha Baptist University. We're not getting nothing paid for as far as injuries.
I'm still paying for that.
I think a part of it is all three of us being student athletes at one point or another. We didn't get paid to play.
And I didn't want to.
We're playing for the love of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's it's a different level, of course. They're Division I athletes, but I'm for being able to use your name to make money. But as far as schools giving them money, there's a big thing called Title IX that's never going to make that happen unless everyone across the board gets the same amount.
I think it would be cool even too that every player whose likeness is used in an ad or a promotional program, there's ways to calculate. Like, I work in marketing, and I know that you can calculate how much business a certain ad generates for you. How much does this certain ad, how many clicks does that get? And then you can translate how many clicks does it take to get $1 in sales? So you can know how much a certain ad is making. So, for instance, you could say if this player's picture is on this poster or in this commercial,
Or
then
in this
they
video
deserve,
game.
yeah, or in this video game, exactly, or if we sell his jersey sale, then you can work out a way that revenue could go to those players at a certain rate. And I think that would definitely at least help pay for their food and their expenses while they're in college. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I understand where they're coming from. Do I think that the Pac-12 players will sit out if these demands are not met? I do not, because simply if they truly do care about their careers and they want to further those careers, if you don't play, you're not going to be drafted. You have to play to be seen. So I don't expect them to actually sit out if nothing happens. I expect that the Pac-12 will make – yeah. I expect that the Pac-12 will meet some of these demands or at least find some kind of compromise.
I can see them doing the racial injustice task force.
Oh, absolutely.
I can see those two happening for sure.
Yeah, but the financial things, I mean, these colleges make so much money and they don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
So now Jim Harbaugh, though, one of the most highest paid coaches, is one of the biggest advocates for players being paid. So we'll see. Maybe he could be a voice for them.
Maybe he can give some of his money to pay.
Yeah, maybe. Again, people that have money, they have it because they work hard and they don't give it away. So we'll see.
Sounds like capitalism. Anyways.
Moving on to our NFL power rankings. Now, last week we were going to move into our 17th spot, but we had to stop because a certain someone has their favorite team much higher than the rest of us. So let me go ahead and pull up that document really quick. All right, so at 17th, let me walk through who we have so far, starting from the bottom. We have the Jaguars, the Washington football team, the Bengals, Dolphins, Lions, Chargers, Giants, Jets, Panthers, Bears, Raiders, Broncos, Browns, Cardinals, Rams. The next team on our list is someone that myself, Wes, and Toby would have much further down the list near the bottom. We have them at where am I? We have them at somewhere around the 20th best team. But if we look at where James Martin has them, he has them as the 8th best team in the NFL. So, James Martin, you need to give statistics and explanation as to why the Falcons are the 8th best team in football in 2020.
I'm ready.
Okay, back it up.
Okay. So, last year, they didn't have two of their offensive linemen. They were out for the season. Okay. They're back. Okay, there are two best linemen. Okay. Our right tackle and our right guard. So his whole right side was destroyed because he had nobody blocking for him. All right. So that's starting with the offensive line.
Did Matt Ryan have a bad season?
No. I mean, he never has a bad season no matter what happens.
There's not going to be a ton of improvement on that then, I wouldn't think.
Well, no, that affects the run game too.
Okay, the run game. Sure.
Okay. Which gets to our run game. Todd Gurley is 1,000,000 times better than Devontae Freeman.
1,000,000.
I counted. It was a million.
I like how you're working on statistics and believable numbers here.
No, seriously, Todd Gurley is better. He is better than
Devontae Freeman. Now, he did not look great last year, but he also wasn't used very much.
He scored like a ton of touchdowns.
He scored a lot of touchdowns. He's put.
Which our problem is, as a team, is we suck in the red zone. He's going to fix that problem. Okay, you got Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. They're going to be who they are. They're going to both probably get 1,000 yards and probably. I mean, probably not a ton of touchdowns.
Lost Austin Hooper, but you did gain your boy.
I think Hayden Hurst is better.
I think he's more physically talented.
He's faster, he's bigger, and he's stronger.
Bigger, better, faster, stronger?
Huh?
Bigger, better, faster, stronger?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Although Hooper had a really good connection with Matt Ryan, so I don't know if that's going to be there for sure. Mm-hmm. But he is bigger, he is faster, and he is stronger than Austin Hooper.
Guess we'll find out about his route running ability.
Yeah, see, I don't know much about that.
He looked solid in Baltimore. I mean, he just was behind Mark Andrews is the only issue.
Who else was a great athlete? Stephen Hill.
You know who else was a great athlete? David Njoku.
I thought I was doing this, but that's okay. Y'all keep going.
Sorry.
Hey, you really think we're just going to let you rank them?
I'm not done.
10 spots higher.
To the defense yet.
You think we're going to let you rank them 10 spots higher and we're not going to give you grief? You're getting grief, bud.
I do. I would let you talk.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, and our third wide receiver is Russell Gage, who is very underrated. He is very good.
I agree.
And he's a sleeper for a lot of people this year. So that's our offense. We're going to improve. Our offensive line got better. We got a better running back and all around. So our offense is always like top 8, top 5 maybe in NFL. It's what it usually kills is our defense. But this year, We got Keanu Neal back. Keanu Neal is probably a top healthy. He could be a top 5 safety in the NFL. Granted, he's always hurt, so I'm not gonna put too much stock in that. But he is very good, and right now he is healthy. We got Dante Fowler. We haven't had a good pass rusher. I mean, Vic Beasley had one good year, but Vic Beasley really was not very good. So we got Dante Fowler. We got Deion Jones, who I arguably would say is top 3 middle linebacker in all of football. I'm a little biased, maybe. We got Tack McKinley, Grady Jarrett, who are two of the – Grady Jarrett's – I think he was in the top 100 players.
Tackle?
Yeah, he's very, very, very good. He's a big dude. He's strong. Then we got Tack, who feeds off Grady Jarrett. Tack is still kind of young. He makes some stupid
Don't forget
mistakes.
about Young Hoku.
Can I get there?
I'm just saying he's probably the best player on your team.
And then we got Alan Bailey, who's a pretty good defensive end, who's going to be on the opposite side of Dante Fowler. And, Fowler had been a linebacker for L.A. for a few years, and it really affected his play. I mean, he's a natural defensive end that was converted to a linebacker, and now we're putting him back at defensive end, and he's going to hopefully really help the defense. We got A.J. Terrell in the draft this year, which people are – maybe he might have taken him a little early, but he's the spot that we need. We needed a cornerback, and if you look at his stats, he was actually really, really good. What have I picked him? Probably not, but I'm also not a scout. We got DeMonte Casey, who actually was leading the league in interceptions at one point last year. So he's a ball hawk. He
got one interception in the first game.
God, I hate you so much. We have Isaiah Oliver, who is our other cornerback, who he might be our weakest spot, but he's still decent. He's very good. He's solid. I feel like our defense went from probably bottom half to easily. Actually, we were much improved last year.
So what key? Because their defense was still pretty bad.
Yes.
Just quick sum up. What key pieces have you added that makes you think that they're going to make this big leap this year?
The run stopping of Jarrett and McKinley, and then the pass rush of Dante Fowler.
Okay.
I think it's what's going to make the difference.
Because
he had all day to throw last year. Everybody.
Jarrett and McKinley will have a bounce back season to lead the defense.
Which Jarrett had a good season last year. McKinley did not.
Okay.
So Grady Jarrett is really the only name I'm super familiar with, and it may just be
Dante Fowler.
Dante Fowler. I apologize. It may just be my unfamiliarness with the Falcons.
And this is the thing I know, and that's the thing I know the Falcons better than anybody.
Right,
so
I think that may build into a little bit of bias because you see all the great things they do so much more than everyone else that can get built in there a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the Falcons could be a team that do well. But do I think that they're going to be the 8th best team in football? I do not. But I understand where you're coming from. And look, the Browns think they're going to the Super Bowl every year. So the Browns fans do. So we'll see what happens. You never know.
I can't believe you just put us in the same category as the Browns.
I think the Falcons, talent-wise, are probably up there. Definitely in the top half of the league. I will say that. The Falcons, I said. It's Falcons, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say they're probably talent-wise up there.
I would agree. Now, I think Dan Quinn needs to be fired, personally.
I still got some more to say when y'all are done.
Oh, man.
Or was it done?
I would just say I think Todd Gurley is I think he's a shell of his former self. I don't think he's the guy
who he once was.
I don't think he's the guy you think he will be. Let me just say that. So
I don't think the Falcons expect him to be who he once was either, though, Wes. But I do think he's an upgrade over Freeman.
Okay.
Especially since Freeman barely ever plays because he's always injured.
Say the same for Gurley.
That's true.
Okay. So before I was cut off again, if you look at the Falcons last year in the second half, they beat San Francisco. They beat was it Baltimore? They beat one of the top 3 teams in the league last year. They beat both of them in the final 8 when they had to start winning. So Dan Quinn didn't get fired. They started winning all their games, and Dan Quinn's going to start off on the hot seat immediately. And I don't see them not playing for him again. They're going to finish like they finished last year. And on top of that,
the Falcons did close the last 8 weeks of the season, beating the Saints and Panthers. They lost the Bucks and the Saints the next 2 weeks. But then the last 4 weeks of the season, they beat the Panthers again, San Francisco, Jacksonville, and Tampa Bay.
So they beat the Saints.
One win against the Saints, one win against the Giants or Niners. I mean,
49ers is a good win.
But they did lose 6 weeks in a row. They lost
They started off horrible.
Seven
I
of their
agree.
first 8.
Yes, they were very bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why once everyone started talking about, even the owner started talking about possibly
Firing Dan
moving
Quinn.
on. Yeah, and then that's when they started winning. And
Yeah,
related to Todd Gurley, the reason why I think Todd Gurley is going to have a great year is because we have him on a 1-year contract. They don't give a care about him. They're going to run him into the ground because we don't need him next year. We don't need him. And I think Todd Gurley is going to have one of his better years. Not his MVP. If he won did he win the MVP that year? Well, that year that he went just absolutely insane. I don't think he's going to have that, but he's going to have way better than he's been recently, I think.
So
that's why I put him up so high.
You're not afraid of if they run Todd Gurley into the ground that he will just fatigue out?
No, I like
it. That's what I think. I think if they try to run him to the ground, he's going to break down so fast.
I think so too. Because that knee, man.
I mean, we don't even know about – he's never hurt his knee. I mean, he just said it hurts. He never actually hurt it in a game.
Degenerative
knee.
But
it's never really affected him. The Rams just never ran him. He never actually was affected by his knee in the sense of not quality of runs.
As far as we know.
As we know. Okay, I mean, there's always that possibility of not knowing.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley was used in the run game last year. The reason that
goal line run, he had a lot of short runs. He didn't.
And he did not have a ton of passing or reception attempts last year. One thing that hurt him last year, I think they should have used him more in the screen game, but I think it's because of his cutting ability that they may not have. He did still have 220 carries last year and only a 3.8 yards per attempt.
But he had a lot of goal line stuff, though. Like, he
true.
didn't have a chance to get a lot of yards.
12 touchdowns was nice.
His biggest downfall last year was his receiving. They didn't throw him the ball ever.
They did not throw him the ball.
He had the most routes run, top 3 in running back, but only had
just
like 50
never
catches.
tossed it. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we must move on.
Sorry. All right.
We must move on. I understand it's a passion thing. We'll get to the rest of our teams eventually. Now, something that when we originally made this list, not as many players had opted out of the season yet. So personally, I know we're going to come up on a team here.
The Patriots.
Yes, the Patriots eventually, who I think I will put lower than where we have them now. But anyways, moving on to our next team. At 16, we have the Houston Texans. Now, Toby's not here. I was going to have him talk to Wes about this because Toby has the Texans pretty high still. We know they lost DeAndre Hopkins and they gained David Johnson, who James really believes in David Johnson. Now, I also think that Johnson could have a good year. I've kind of come around to James's side of things. I don't see him as being a top 10 running back. I think he has the potential to be there. Do I expect it? No. But he will have opportunity to score and to be a really good running back. Now, Wes, you have them as the number 20 team on the season. So why are you so low on them? I know losing DeAndre Hopkins is huge. What else? They did add Brandon Cooks as well and David Johnson.
Well, I guess 2 words. Bill O'Brien. That's why.
2 words.
Not the smartest cookie.
It's like the O threw me off. Bill O'Brien is the worst GM in the history of sports, number 1. Number 2, he's not the worst coach ever, but
no, the worst GM in the history of sports is the Cavs GM. What's his name? Dan. Anyways, the guy who pretty much forces LeBron out and all the stars in his team always forces him out. He is the worst owner ever, or GM, I should say.
Well, he's the owner. Dan Gilbert's the owner, not
Dan Gilbert.
GM.
Yeah, okay.
But he switches GMs like every 4 years.
Continue on.
Continue, Wes.
So, Bill O'Brien he's.
I have a question for you, Wes.
Yes.
So, if you had the option of just hear me out, if you could have David Johnson and Brandon Cooks on your team, or Hopkins, you would take Hopkins?
100%. 100%, no question. Give me the best receiver in football versus a running back who may or may not be top three.
I would argue he's the most talented receiver in football. Julio Jones is great, but when it comes to ability to catch in traffic, no one's better.
In debate for the number 1 receiver, I would say, there's Michael Thomas, there's Hopkins, there's Julio. But anyways. Yeah. Give me him over David Johnson. Okay, y'all are high on him. I'm telling y'all he's going to break down. I'm telling y'all. And then they're going to be looking for running backs on the scrap heap.
I would absolutely take Hopkins over the 2 of them as well, especially considering Cook's concussion history and David Johnson's recent injury history and lack of performance in Arizona, you just have a guaranteed top receiver who is one of the most dynamic players in football, and you give him up for a very expensive running back who has a lot to prove since he's been injured, and a very injury prone receiver who is a huge step down from Hopkins, especially now. Say you're the Falcons and you have someone like Calvin Ridley behind Julio Jones. To me, that would make way more sense, right? If the Falcons would have done the same thing, it would have made way more sense to me because you bring in Julio or Calvin Ridley and what's the third guy?
Gage.
Yeah, Russell Gage as well. And that would have made a lot more sense to me to have David Johnson and Brandon Cooks there. But when you have Will Fuller and Kenny Stills as your next two best wide receivers, and you're giving up DeAndre Hopkins for that, don't get me wrong. Will Fuller is extremely talented, but there is not a more injury-prone player in the NFL. And you just add in another injury-prone player. What can you expect as consistency of a lineup goes for these guys? You're really banking a lot on guys who have not proven themselves to be healthy and consistent to now be healthy and consistent. So I totally agree. But I do think that they have a lot of talent, Wes.
If they can stay healthy, if is like potential, it's what you haven't given me yet. You know, Will Fuller is injury prone. He's going to get hurt at least half the season. Brandon Cooks could potentially get hurt half the season. Randall Cobb, washed up. They just gave him a 3-year, $27 million contract.
I don't know if he's washed up.
He is washed. He's been washed for years now.
Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb.
I mean, he is. I think that he's a $9 million player. He's not
slow.
He's a slot receiver who will be open as your third check down guy. He's not. You're not paying him to be your star.
Okay, so let's move on from receivers. Tight end is. I mean, there's some young guys. There's okay.
Atkins. I like Atkins.
Mm-hmm, me too.
Okay, yeah, they had 300 receiving yards.
I'm not saying they're good. I'm just saying I like them.
Yeah, we're just saying.
Sure.
I'm on your side here.
No, and I agree.
Yeah, so the offensive line is improved. We'll see if they can stay healthy. Titus Howard on the right, Larry Tunsil on the left. Okay. Defense, yeah, we got J.J. Watt. He's regressed. He is regressing. He's had a few sacks last year, but he has regressed big time. Their defensive backs are just the worst group. Like we're picking up guys as people were cutting them last year and throwing them on the field. Like Vernon Hargreaves, he got cut. They threw him out here. They traded a second-round pick for Garyon Conley, who the Raiders were going to cut. Like, just terrible defensive backs we picked up. You can't name a safety because they're bringing in guys from the Browns. And the linebacking group isn't any better. So
don't get me wrong. I don't think that the Texans are some great team. I think we have them, actually. We have them at 16. I think we've got them at the right spot.
You think the Falcons would lose to the Texans?
I had the Falcons higher.
Okay.
Just so you know.
I would give it to the home team. I'd give it to the home team. Deshaun Watson is an amazing talent. They both have shaky defenses.
That is the one bright spot. Deshaun Watson is going to make up for a lot of Bill O'Brien's mistakes.
I think it'd be a high-scoring game, and it would go to the home team is who I'd give the edge to.
My one fear is if Deshaun Watson gets hurt because Bill O'Brien has made all these stupid moves.
Yeah, I mean, Watson's going to have to do a lot on his own.
Exactly.
When does Watson's contract end?
This year, isn't it?
Is it this year?
Well, he came in the same year as Mahomes, so he's got the 5th-year option, and then they could franchise tag
If I'm Watson, I'm like, look, hey, Bill Belichick, don't worry about tanking for Trevor Lawrence because as soon as I'm done, I'm coming to you, buddy.
Hey, just so y'all know, the Vegas odds for the 2021 Patriots quarterback, Deshaun Watson has the best odds.
Amen, brother.
Just so you know.
Amen. I will
don't
take
like
that
it.
happily.
Let's be honest. If they get a number 1 pick, they're going to trade it away, and they're going to go get somebody from God knows where and still win the Super Bowl.
I'm okay with that. Let's keep it up. All right. Next on the list, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, who, Wes, you think are the number 8 team in football. Now, I understand that Carson Wentz is a great player, and Zach Ertz is a great tight end, and Miles Sanders had a great last few weeks of the season. Outside of that, give me a second, James. Outside of that, I don't see a lot of bright spots for these guys. I don't see a lot of bright spots for the Eagles. James, what are you going to say?
Would you change your standings now that all the injuries and stuff that have happened recently?
If I had to, it took me a long time to do this. I'm not going to change it. I would move the Patriots lower because of all the players that they have sitting out. Their defense is going to be what it was. I would probably move the Eagles even lower, but Alshon Jeffrey probably going to be on the PUP list for 6 weeks.
He's always hurt anyway.
Yeah.
Goodwin
And also
opt out,
Marquise Goodwin opted out. Not that he was some amazing stud.
but he was someone that.
Yeah, but
Could
I
help
just see
spread
the
out the
Eagles
field.
being really limited, and I don't see them as the number 8 team in football.
Well, I'm a big fan of Carson Wentz. Now, if he can stay healthy, we'll see. But
I love Carson Wentz too.
Yeah, they brought in Jalen Rager.
Which
We'll
I
see.
love.
Yeah,
I like him for
great
next year.
receiver.
Rookies take
this-
time to develop in the NFL.
Not receivers. Receivers
Yes,
have been
they
better
do.
though.
Yeah.
Receivers have
Last-
been better.
Last year was an anomaly.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways, I love Zach Ertz, love Dallas Goedert. They brought in Darius Slay at cornerback, which is going to be a big help. They're going to have, they got that. I believe they have someone else that's corner who's very good. They're bringing back what's their defensive tackle?
He got
Fletcher
injured
Cox.
last year. Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, Fletcher Cox was battling injury last year, so I think that's going to be big. So I just say I see a lot of talent, and I think if they were decimated by injuries. They had
They're
a
coming
guy.
into the year still decimated though. Wes.
Well, their number one receiver last year was an undrafted rookie free agent from Houston, who
Mhm.
was a quarterback in college.
Yeah.
Like now they're able to bring in more players. I just think they're a stronger team. I think they're a strong team
We'll see.
with a strong quarterback.
I do
And a
like
great
Carson
coach.
Wentz, and
Great coach.
They do have a great coach, and I do like Carson Wentz. I just don't think that they have the overall team necessary to be a top 10 team this year. I see a few teams that are much more well-rounded. I would put the Colts and Titans above the Eagles, who have really well-rounded teams. Now, do I like the Colts and Titans quarterbacks more? No, but their overall team is better than is better than the Eagles. Next on our list, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who we were all in pretty much perfect agreement with where I think the Steelers should go, right here at number 14. They have Ben Roethlisberger coming back, which could really help. It will help them. They had Devlin Hodges and what's the other guy's name? Mason Rudolph last year. 2 of the worst quarterbacks we've ever seen on an NFL field. And they got a wild card? No, they did not make a wild card. But they were 9-7.
They were one game out of the wild.
They were
Yeah.
a game away. Yeah.
9-7 when literally no quarterback.
Hey, put some respect on Duck Hodges' name.
But
God, just
Minka Fitzpatrick led an amazing defense last
Yeah.
year.
I think he should have been running for MVP, honestly.
Yeah, and they're going
That's what he
to continue to have a great defense this year. And Ben Roethlisberger coming back, I think we'll see a big resurgence from Juju Smith-Schuster. We should as well see a solid season from Deontay Johnson. Some of those other receiving options, and I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers will be a really good team this year. I think that they may be the
Devin
reason.
Bush.
I love Devin Bush, and I think they may be another Wolverine went to them this year as well. I think they may be the main reason that the Browns don't make the playoffs this year because I think the Steelers are going to be really solid. So
We might be a little too low on the Steelers, honestly.
yeah, I think
They
we
could
very
be
well
better.
could be. We could be.
Some people
Um,
hate James Conner, but
I
I'm
hate
actually pretty
James
high on
Conner.
him.
I hate him just because he destroyed me in fantasy football one year. I vowed to never say anything good about him because of that. Now, he also saved me one year, so I don't know why I hate him so much. When Le'Veon Bell opted out, I made a great trade to get James Conner, got me second place in the league. The next year, I'm like, all right, James Conner, I'm drafting you this year. And he just destroyed me. I went James Conner, Joe Mixon. It was bad. You got anything to say on the Steelers before we move on, James?
no, just everything we said.
Okay, cool. Next is a team that I'm really high on this year. I have them as the number 7 team, and so does James this year. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, number 7 or 8. Is the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Wes, you don't believe in the Colts, do you?
No.
And is it because you hate Phillip Rivers?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, Phillip Rivers,
Honesty, I like it.
he has some skill. He has his whole career, and he also can throw a ton of picks. Now, if you ask me, he has moved to a much better team in the Colts. He has a good offense, the best offensive line in football. T.Y. Hilton, starting
Who's hurt.
injured. He is hurt. But he's got Paris Campbell and other guys behind him that I have faith in as well as having Jonathan Taylor and
Marlon Mack.
at running backs. And solid tight end core as well. I think
you don't
their
like
offense is
Austin
going to
Eckler?
cook.
You don't like Austin Eckler
I do.
or
No,
Keenan Allen or Mike
he fed-
Williams? Or,
I think
And
the
those guys
offensive
have-
line is what killed him there.
The offensive line is what makes a huge difference to me because Phillip Rivers had good fantasy football stats last year because he threw the ball a ton and had tons of yards and touchdowns because he just was constantly throwing because no one could run the ball because that offensive line was so terrible. I think in Indianapolis, he's going to have a much more balanced attack and ability to read the field, not just have to chuck it while he's falling on his butt the whole time. I mean, you see how much he's running, just throwing it sidearm as he falls backwards.
I think
throws a pick.
I think having the good run game is gonna. I mean, I think they're gonna. Remember Seattle when they were so good? They did 50-50 run pass. I could see that happening.
I think that they're going to have the talent at running back and offensive line to be able to run the ball a lot and not have to manage or not have to rely on Phillip Rivers so much, Wes. And they've got a solid defense too.
The solid defense. Do y'all know their only hope of making the playoffs is benching Phillip Rivers and starting Jacoby Brissett. That's their only
Man,
hope.
you really hate this guy.
I really like
Let me tell you something. This past 5 seasons, Phillip Rivers is 35-45 with the Chargers defense, which is elite. Okay, 35-45. Take away this one season where he went 12-4. What does that put you at? 23-41.
I didn't say
4 out of 5 seasons.
I didn't say he's an all-star.
Loser. He's a loser.
James, so much.
Phillip Rivers, loser.
So much goes into football besides just the quarterback play.
Oh, get at it. They had
I think
great
that's something.
offense.
I think that's something you have to look into because
He puts up.
You just gave
20 picks.
You give the Eagles. I think that you're ranking the quarterbacks here instead of the teams because you give the Eagles a top 8 when they have a bad team and a good quarterback, but then you give the Colts number 22 when they've got a great team and a decent quarterback.
What was their record last year? Like 9-7. I think they get worse with Phillip Rivers. I think their only shot is worse.
They add Jonathan Taylor, T.Y. Hilton comes back, and they get worse.
T.Y. Hilton's hurt. Right?
He'll play most of the season.
Okay.
T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah. I mean, it's a mild hamstring pull. Which hamstring?
Well, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree on this one.
Now, they'll probably get second in the division. They might get second in the division. I have the Texans a little higher just because I don't like Phillip Rivers at all. Now, I may be a little biased because I hate Phillip Rivers. I think he's an awful quarterback.
I think you hate him.
I'm not a fan.
I agree with you there.
He's a loser. He's a punk. And I think that –
What did he do to you?
I don't like his demeanor on the field. He's a punk on the field.
Did you say something about your sister?
Hey, watch him out.
Whoa, I didn't even say anything.
Yes, he did.
I just don't think he's a winner.
All right, okay. I understand. You don't like Phillip Rivers.
The same reason I didn't like Jay Cutler. Not a winner.
Whoa. I don't know about that.
Yep.
Some bold accusations.
I
don't know what I did, but I
times
somehow
over.
erased – or someone erased Wes's ranking on the Patriots. Was it you, Wes?
No.
It disappeared.
It disappeared.
Disappeared?
No, I had the Patriots at 11.
11?
Yep.
Okay. So I had them at 9. Wes had them at 12, and Toby had them at 16. So 16 was lower.
What did I have him at? Did you say Wes is in
12.
me?
James, you had 12.
Oh, you're so dumb.
Did I say Wes?
Yes.
Sorry. Anyways, we all had them around top 10, and I think that would have been really a good spot for them had not 8 players opted out of the season already, including
Would you say 8 important players too?
some of them, yeah, not all of them. But we have some really solid players and almost all of them on defense that have decided to opt out of the season. So I think that's really going to hurt our defense. I think a lot of young guys are going to have to step up if we're going to be staying in games because the strategy for me was going to be hold people to 14 or less points and hope that Cam Newton can get us around 21, 24. And I think that that's just not going to happen with all these guys opting out. Now we still have Stephon Gilmore, Cam Newton, Julian Edelman, shaky tight end situation. And really past Julian Edelman, the wide receiver situation is not good. Mohamed Sanu is our next guy up. And then we got Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, James White, and Damian Harris at running back, which I think is a really great deep running back core. A lot of those guys are really solid pieces, and they could really use them. And I think if Cam Newton runs the ball, that the running game could really succeed. But I don't see us putting up 34, 35 points a game with all these defensive players sitting out. I think that where we have them right now at the number 12 team is probably a little higher than they should be. I don't think they're going to tank like some people think they're going to do. I think that the team is too competitive. I think Bill Belichick is too competitive for that. and I see them being somewhere around 8-8, 9-7, maybe at best 10-6 team, unless Cam Newton just decides he's going to be the MVP and just plays out of his mind. Which, with the offense around him, I don't think that that's really possible. So we'll see what happens. We have them at 12 right now. After all these players opt out, I say we put them more around 15 probably.
Yeah.
That's where I would have them. I think they're a top half of the league team.
No faith in y'all's first-round pick last year, huh? Y'all's receiver?
Oh, I love
Harry?
N'Keal Harry. We just haven't seen him do much. He had 12 catches last year because he didn't play very much.
Gotta have
I
faith.
personally love him. I think that he's going to match up with Cam Newton really well.
Yep. He's like a Devin Funchess.
Yeah, I think that he's a nice, tall, fast wide receiver that Newton will be able to throw to deep when the defense is drawing in because he's scrambling, or maybe he does a read option or something where he fakes it off and maybe does a fake draw play or something, and it'll leave that one-on-one coverage for Harry where he thrives, because Harry's route running is not the best, but his ability to catch in traffic is up there with the best of them. So I think that could be a really solid play for the Patriots this year. I didn't bring my laptop today, Wes, so my phone is just bouncing on the back of my monitor, and I just keep thinking it's just going to fall, but it's staying up there. It's a trooper. Next on our list is James' second favorite team. We have the Tennessee Titans. Now, we all were almost in perfect agreement with where we have them here at number 11. I had them as the 8th best team. James had them as the 11th best team.
No, that can't be right. I had one behind the Falcons.
Oh,
or one ahead of the Falcons.
I'm sorry. Toby had them as the 11th best team. You had them as 9th, and Wes had them as 10th. So we've got them all here around 10, 11. And I actually was the highest on them. I think the Titans are a really well-rounded team. One of the best defenses, one of the best coaches, I think, in Mike Vrabel. He's looking like a really promising young coach. And wide receiver core it's all right, not great. But they're just a really well-run team.
I think it's pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But they're just a well-run team, and they've got really no holes, if you ask me. Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry both getting re-signed. I expect them to do great things, at least make the playoffs. Their division's tough, I think, this year. But I expect them to get in either as the division favorites or the wild card, in my personal opinion, especially with 7 teams. Originally, I was going to have a hot take that because of the AFC parity that the Titans might not make it. But I was like, not with 7 teams getting in. They're definitely making it in.
I think the one, if we're taking devil's advocate, is Tannehill had a great season last year. And
this team is built for Tannehill.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm taking a devil's advocate, though, if I'm taking the other side, I'm saying Tannehill, maybe he's a one-hit wonder. Maybe he's a one season, kind of like he got hot for a shorter period of time, kind of like a Nick Foles. And
yeah, that could be true.
But
he was actually pretty good in Miami, though. I mean,
he was. He just had a bad team in Miami, man. His whole career, he had a bad team.
I would agree with that. I'm just saying,
if you had to do something,
he's not a backup. He wasn't a backup. I mean, he wasn't a starter for a reason. And then, yeah, he got hot. Now, I think he's a very talented quarterback. Going back to Texas A&M, very talented player, very good athlete.
Mm-hmm.
I think. But
isn't it nuts how many Texas A&M players end up being starters in the NFL?
Yeah,
Texas A&M in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I just think it's if he's a great quarterback, he would have been starting right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he could be. I don't have a lot of faith in him right now.
I mean, he took over pretty quick for a guy who had been cemented as a starter for many years in Tennessee. And he was a starter in Miami. So I think Ryan Tannehill is the real deal. And I think that the Titans will continue to make the playoffs this year.
I think they will as well.
I mean, anybody could probably do good in that situation, though. Honestly.
I agree.
But I like Tannehill, and I like how his connection with A.J. Brown is right now. So that's why I have them so high.
Next, we have at number 10, the Green Bay Packers, which, again, is another team, the West, you're really low on. We all have them up around – I've got them at 6. Myself and Toby have them at 6. James, you have them at 9. And Wes, you have them down at 15. So you're 5 spots lower than the rest of us, 9 spots lower than I am. So why do you have them so low?
I just think they didn't, if you're not getting better in this league, you're getting worse.
I mean, they had the worst draft ever.
Yeah, I agree.
What they needed to improve was their defense, and they went for a backup quarterback when they have the most talented quarterback.
And a backup running back.
One of the most talented quarterbacks.
Yeah, when they're 2 best players, and I mean, maybe not, but
Devontae Adams is better than Aaron Jones.
Right. Aaron Jones did score like 18 touchdowns last year,
Mm-hmm.
but so they went quarterback and running back first, second round. Now,
so stupid.
They didn't draft one receiver.
They literally could have said, "Hey, Jake, come draft for us. I would have done a better job. I would have gotten the first thing I would have done is get him another receiver, a slot guy to complement Devontae Adams, so Aaron Rodgers is someone to throw to. And then defensive line. I would have just been boom, boom, boom. And they'd be like, oh, hey, thanks. Great job. And now they have a backup quarterback and a backup running back. So stupid.
Yeah. No, I think they're an okay team, but they didn't get better. I think Rodgers is still a very good quarterback, but I just think the Vikings are just better. And then,
well, I think the Vikings are better too.
But I'd have them slotted a little higher now that the Patriots, that all happened. But I just have a few teams I believe in a little bit more that I think got better. I just don't think they got better. I think they're still solid.
They did not get better. I would agree with you. They are the same team that they were last year, but they were a pretty darn good team last year at 12-4, I believe.
I think that was a nominally. I don't think they're going to be as good.
They won a lot of games by one score. So usually that regresses. I expect them to be more like 11-5 or 10-6 team. But Aaron Rodgers is still one of the most talented quarterbacks in football, and he can make things happen. And I do like Matt LaFleur. I think he's a good coach.
I do like him too.
Yeah, and I think that in his second year, that could be one of the things that makes them improve.
Or make them
the second year for a coach helps him get better.
Unless they trade Aaron Rodgers.
Which, who knows? Who honestly knows? All right, that is it. That was our number 9. Oh, no, we have one more team. At number 9, we have the Minnesota Vikings. Now, James, you are much lower on the Minnesota Vikings than the rest of us. Myself, Toby, and Wes all have them right here at 9. You've got them down at 14, which isn't terrible. But why wouldn't you have them as a top 10 team?
It's their offense. They lost
Diggs,
yes. I think that's big. And then
I love Cook and Madison.
I do too. I love Cook. But Cook is also injury prone. If we're going to talk about
even
injuries.
If Cook gets injured, though, I think Madison's a great replacement.
But I don't think Madison's as good as Cook is, and I think that's why it's going to be great.
His yards per carry is higher.
So is Gus Edwards, but you don't see him starting.
Hey, I didn't say he shouldn't.
I think Texas should trade for Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards is a back who has been stuck behind great running back for years.
He'd be an upgrade over David Johnson.
Ooh,
boom.
Hot
you watch
take.
your mouth. All right. What was I going to say? Oh, they don't have I love Justin Jefferson. I love him.
What about Adam Thielen?
As a number 2. Let me finish.
Okay.
But I don't think he's going to be – he's going to be nothing compared to Diggs in his rookie season. I don't think.
Okay.
And I think Thielen's going to get double covered, and it's going to – Thielen's a natural slot receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to have to play outside.
Do you say that because he's white?
No, but yes. Now, granted, I don't know what they lost on defense this offseason. I think it was mostly focused on the fact that I think Diggs keeps them – maybe I put him a little too low now that I think about it. But it's there, and I'm not going to change it. But
got to stand your ground.
I think the fact they lost Diggs is going to kill them. Their offense.
Interesting.
I'm not a fan of Kirk Cousins. I know he does good and does bad, does good and does bad.
Loves Jesus, man.
That doesn't affect me at all when it comes to football, but I like it. So that's why I put them so low.
All right. Well, that is going to round out our 17 through 9. Next week, we'll get to you our 8 through 1. We dipped in our toes into the top 10. Finally, we can get to the good stuff and talk some baseball. I'm excited. We've got a long show so far. We're already over the hour mark. So, hey, who cares? I'm having a good time. You guys got some time to talk a little bit more?
I have literally nothing to do.
Awesome.
Play Xbox.
Awesome. We'll do that. We'll do that some more later, too. I don't work tomorrow, so.
Me either.
Good to go.
Perfect.
Wes?
My parents are here, and, I'm kind of watching the game with them, but
Parents.
I'm having a good time here. So
tell Mr. Wes Wagner Sr. I said hello.
We'll do that.
Okay. Here.
James said not to say hello.
I don't know your father at all.
I'm just messing with
I've seen him once.
Here we go. All right. MLB season is about 2 weeks deep now. Standings are the Yankees at the top, Twins at the top. Oakland A's at the top. Wes Wagner with his hot take of them being the number 1 team in baseball. They're 6-4, so they're not number 1. But, man, Twins have 2 losses. Yankees only have 1. Miami Marlins still the number 1 team in the NL East after only playing 3 games. They're 2-1.
Now we have the same winning percentage as they do.
No. Miami has
636.
We just won. We're 667 now. Y'all haven't updated it. Boom.
I need to hit refresh.
Yeah, me too.
Darn it. But hey, they're tied among the top of the scoreboard. So the Braves and Miami are tied at 6-6.
No, they're not tied. Stop saying that.
No, they're tied, James, until I say otherwise. Chicago Cubs atop their division at 8-2, with the Cincinnati Reds 5-6 behind them, and the Colorado Rockies at 7-2, the number one team in the AL West. So they're a surprise team so far, kind of. We all expected them to be a wild card contender this year, but so far they're beating out the Dodgers. Toby was very low on them. Brewers looking horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, they look so bad. Christian Yelich, what is he, 3 for 31?
Yep, 3 for 34.
Oh my word. Cardinals, they've only played 5 games. They're 2-3 though. San Francisco 5-6, not bad. That's a little bit of a surprise for me.
Look at the Angels.
What else here? Philadelphia Phillies, they've only played 4 games, but they're 1-3.
Angels and Red Sox.
Well, I knew the Red Sox were going to be bad.
It surprises me how bad they are.
Their pitching's horrible.
They've not only been beaten, they've been.
Their run differential through 11 games is -15, which is the only team that is worse is
the Mets,
the Kansas City Royals
and the
Mariners, Pittsburgh. Oh, and the Arizona Cardinals are -25.
What are the Mets at?
Mets are not -15. The Mets are they're at -15 exactly.
So we beat them 14-1 one game.
But yeah, man, Arizona Cardinals -25. Diamondbacks. Sorry, the Dodgers are +29. So even though they don't have as good of a record as the Rockies, they've been blowing the teams out they've been playing.
Kershaw looked good.
Braves looking good, man.
Yeah,
they're +21 above the rest of their competition.
They started off bad, but they are killing it right now.
Good for them. Little Mike
offensively
carry them
Jake.
too. Houston's at a +11 run differential. Minnesota +27. Their offense is as good as we thought it would be.
Pitching's been solid too.
Pitching's been really solid. Jose Barrios has not been the only good pitcher on that team.
Rich Hill, Kenta
it helps that they've played bad teams.
Yep.
How has Donaldson been doing? I haven't seen his stats.
Not great, and then he also injured his calf the other day.
It wasn't serious though. I think he's back in the lineup today.
Is he back in today? Okay.
Yeah.
But Nelson Cruz is going nuts, man.
Ooh. Yes, he is.
He already has 3 hits today, and has 15 RBI already as well.
He was going to be my heat for last week. He was the one I was going to choose.
Oh yeah,
for a guy over 33 for MVP.
Yeah, they won 7-3 today. Jose Barrios got the dub. He only does have a loss in his first game of the year, where he pitched quite poorly. So, but Kenta Maeda looked really good against the Indians. Granted, everyone's looked really good against the Indians, so there's that. But yeah, there's some surprises. Baltimore 5-3. Offense hasn't looked so bad. Now they're 5-3 with a -3 win differential. Their pitching's just still not great. But they're playing Miami right now, so we'll see what comes out of that.
They're beating the crap beat out of them by the Marlins.
Marlins are beating them, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, something about that COVID just makes you stronger.
I'm telling you, the Marlins.
That's what I said.
Yeah, they're getting juiced, man.
Hey, if the Marlins win, they puts them back in the first place.
Aren't the Phillies playing against Garrett Cole today?
I have no idea.
Garrett Cole pitched. Garrett Cole pitched yesterday.
Did they play? He played the Phillies though yesterday, right? What was the score?
I want to say it was 5-1.
Yeah,
Yankees won.
I did not expect the Phillies to come out there after not playing for a week and to do anything against Garrett Cole. It's like, all right, guys, I know we've been sitting in our hotel rooms for a week here. Let's go hit against Garrett Cole.
Hey, Bryce Harper hit a first inning solo homer, and then they didn't score again.
Yeah, sounds about right. That's about what I would expect. What other surprises outside of just the teams have jumped out to you guys this year so far?
I mean, we already said one of them. Christian Yelich has been bad, but Cody Bellinger has been bad too. Only hitting $150 right now.
You know who's been good? Mike Yastrzemski for the San Francisco Giants.
Oh my goodness, that guy's been out of this world.
Let me pull this fella up real quick on Baseball Reference. While you guys talk about some other surprises.
I'll say the biggest thing I've noticed this year is just the balance in the league. Like, besides the Yankees, there's no one that's just absolutely destroying the league.
You listened to the podcast last week, James?
I did not.
Oh, you missed a good one.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Wes, what word did I say about 100,000 times? I said
pizza.
I said parody so many times because there's so much parity in the league. When you're only playing a 60-game season, these teams are going to keep beating up on each other. It's going to be very even.
I mean, you probably could use a better word than parody, but I like it.
Parity means evenness. It's literally the best word to describe it.
Or you could say evenness.
Evenness isn't a real world.
Then why did you say it?
Because I had to describe it for you, you dumb.
Whoa,
right,
that need to get hostile. This show has gone downhill.
No, this is great stuff.
I leave 1 week and y'all are angry at everything.
Mike Yastrzemski hitting 333, 3 bombs, 11 runs, 7 RBI. He's playing really solid. Aaron Judge and Nick Castellanos, both with 6 homers already. They're playing really well.
And I think Yastrzemski's on base percentage is like 600 or something crazy like that.
His OBP is 490. It was higher before. It's gone down the last couple.
He must have gone over.
These numbers drop after like one game. So
yeah.
I mean, Jose Ramirez was hitting 490 something like 2 days ago, and now he's hitting below 300. So
yeah, I was telling you about Friedman, how he was like 100 and then he was like 400, and now he's back down to 200.
Yep. What about? Where's my document? I'm trying to find it here.
Under the radar MVPs.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. So
we should do
before we do that, let's talk about Rookie
first.
of the Year, guys.
Okay.
So who are your favorites for Rookie of the Year so far? American League, Nate Pearson and Luis Robert are my top 2 so far this season.
Oh, I think number 1's way ahead of both of them.
Okay, who you got?
I got Kyle Lewis from
Kyle
Seattle.
Lewis is playing really well for Seattle. He's playing really well.
He is. Look at his stats.
I put all 3 of them together.
I have it pulled up right here.
I think that Kyle Lewis is the one that probably regresses more likely than those other 2. That's the only reason why. I like Kyle
agree.
Lewis.
Well, I was doing it based off right now.
Okay, so just
I would
so
say
far.
right now, Kyle Lewis is number 1.
Sure,
Well,
I would agree with that.
386.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
I would agree with that.
The funny thing with him, I have him on my fantasy team, so I'm enjoying him right now. But he's
Are you?
17,
Because you're like in 8th place.
Well, I'm enjoying his. No one else is hitting, but he's hitting.
Okay.
So he's 17 of 44, and he's got 19 strikeouts. So the dude is a strikeout or a hit. So I love that. So
I mean, what's his OBP?
I mean, his OBP is over 500.
His
last
OPS is pretty high.
He was hitting 386 as of today, and then his on-base percentage was at least 500. So
How many? Any stolen bases?
no.
Okay. Robert is
dingers.
playing a little more even keel. He's hitting 350 with 2 homers and 6 RBI, 3 stolen bases. Not getting that OBP that Kyle Lewis has, though. So he's not getting walked as much. But Robert's having a really good start of the season as well. And so is Nate Pearson as pitcher for the Rays.
Yeah, and I'll throw 2 relievers out at you. Blake Taylor with the Astros.
You better mention my boy.
Been phenomenal. And then, James Karinchak. He's been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal as well.
If you are a baseball fan, even if you're not an Indians fan, you need to go look up James Karinchak and watch him just like – he struck out Nick Castellanos today on 6 curveballs. All he threw was curveballs. Strike 1 curveball, strike 2 curveball. He threw 2 balls, and then he threw another curveball that Castellanos fouled out, and then he threw a high curveball at the top of the zone, struck him out looking. I mean, the guy just – it's this nasty, over-the-top, weird delivery. He runs into Wild Thing like Ricky Vaughn did in Major League, and he just gets so pumped up and juiced. He's always, like, fidgeting on the mound. There's not a more fun reliever to watch in baseball right now than James Karinchak.
So he's kind of like Max Scherzer.
Yeah, he has that demeanor, just pure intimidation, fired up at all times. I love watching him. If you have not watched him play yet, watch him play. He
throws about 100 miles an hour. Too.
Yeah, 97, 98. He can touch 100 if he really gives it everything, but he is wild. Like, he's one of those guys that could just sail one to the fence, the backstop at any time.
Ricky.
Now, will he win the Rookie of the Year? No, reliever is not going to win the Rookie of the Year unless he takes over that closer role and gets that insane number of saves.
I mean, Diaz almost was in running for the MVP a few years ago, so it's possible.
It's possible. It's just unlikely. I think that one of these other guys will probably take it over him. What about MVP possibilities so far?
Are you going to do the NL Rookie of the Year?
Sure, NL, whatever.
There's not a whole lot there.
There's not.
I don't have anything really.
Okay, because I didn't really have anything.
Nico Herner for the Cubs, maybe, but he's
second baseman.
Yeah, meh.
Nico Horner.
It's open.
He's pretty much
a .1 WAR, so he's hitting 270.
Yeah, but there's no one else.
Still win it.
There's no one else. It's wide open.
So nothing too amazing there. And AL MVP race, MVP race so far. A couple guys that I don't know if you would say under the radar. But Nick Castellanos said when he came to the Reds that he wanted to win the NL MVP. And when he moved there, I first said, look, this is the guy who's led the league in doubles for many years in a row here in Detroit because Detroit has a freaking huge stadium. And the Reds are known for homers. So many of his doubles are going to turn into homers. And so far throughout this first season with the Reds, he has 6 homers, and they really are. I think he had a 6-1 today and his 5th yesterday against a really good pitching staff. So I think that Castellanos could be a sleeper for MVP this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's hitting so well. I didn't even think he was a sleeper, but
Well,
definitely
I just mean none of us
him
picked
and,
him before the season started.
Right. Oh, I would agree with that. My NL sleeper, I picked 2 of them. One of them is not really a sleeper anymore. I actually picked him as my top 3, my MVPs. But Trevor Story's been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not a sleeper anymore. So I threw another one out there who's playing phenomenal as well right now. Wilson Contreras with the Cubs has been hitting and knocking the cover off the ball.
And
right
something that'll help him is catchers get a lot of added defensive WAR.
Exactly.
Just because of the nature of the position. So if he can provide a lot of WAR offensively, that could really boost his votes if he has a very high WAR because of that great defense that he has as catcher.
Yep.
James?
I have 2 guys. One of them's kind of biased probably, but Dansby Swanson.
He's playing well. Finally. He's
playing out of his mind. Well, he was playing good last year and he got hurt.
Yeah, but he's just been one of the most touted young players in baseball and just hasn't really come together for him.
They've been moving him around the lineup a lot. He's been batting 7th, but they recently moved him up to 2nd, and I think it's actually helped him. He's batting .333. He's 11 RBIs, 2 home runs, which is not super great, but I mean he has shown like not slowing down at all. Like he's not up and down. He's just been .333 pretty much straight through. And then my other guy was leading in RBIs a couple days ago, but he's not anymore. But that is Donovan Solano from the Giants. He's batting .457, has 13 RBIs. His OPS is above 1.1.
He's been in the league for 8 years. He looks about 57 years old.
He does. But he doesn't he doesn't have a ton of power, it seems like, but
listen to his position list on Baseball Reference. It says second baseman, pinch hitter, and shortstop. How does pinch hitter be listed as one of your positions? It's too funny. But yeah, he has a half game more already through 8 games, .457 batting average. Jeez, how have I not heard of this guy?
I didn't hear. I was listening to the Giants game one day, and they were just talking him up. I was like, I'd never heard of this guy, and I looked it up, and I was like, this guy is pretty good.
You don't legitimately think this guy has a chance?
No, it's a shortened season. I mean, you
the
never
segment
know what's
says
happen.
under the radar MVP.
Well, he's up there. I'm saying right now. And
this is like an ant not appearing on a radar because he's so under the radar.
Sometimes you are so dumb.
James,
I'm worried about your brain.
He's not winning the MVP.
You never know what's going to happen. It's only 60 games.
He's been in the MLB for 8 years. He has a career 1.9 WAR. He's not winning the MVP.
I just said under the radar. He's in a candidate. He's got to be in there.
All right.
Okay. All right. He has started hot. I will give you that.
AL.
American League. Go ahead, you guys. Start off with it.
I'm going to go last in this one for sure.
Okay.
Because it connects to my thing.
So I'll go first. So the first one's going to be expected from y'all too. But I have 2 of them. So number 1, Michael Brantley. He has been on fire to start. He's hitting about .450 batting average.
I would love to see Dr.
OBP is over 500. He's locked in. He's gotten multiple hits pretty much every single game. So the one thing he's under the radar. So he's behind Judge in the homers and all that stuff. But if he hits 370, 380, I wouldn't be surprised this year in a shortened season because he's locked in. The other guy under the radar, probably y'all don't have, is a pitcher who's pitching very well right now. Garrett Cole. He's 3-0. He's in his first 3 games 3-0, and he's striking out guys, low ERA. If he wins 10 games in a shortened season, he'd have to be up there.
And I think that you bring up very solid players. Michael Brantley, I would love to see it. I think Judge has a really good chance at it. He's definitely not under the radar with the way he started the season. One thing that I think could be interesting is having J.P. Crawford. Now we've seen the Seattle Mariners start off hot before, but he is getting out on base at an insane rate and playing an insane defense. He's really playing really well. Now this is similar to James's pick. I don't expect him to win the MVP. But if he continues to get on base as much as he is and continues to play the defense that he has so far, he could be one of the top players in baseball this year. As well as DJ LeMahieu. We saw him have an amazing season last year, and I think that he can replicate that this year and be a under-the-radar type guy as well. Now, it is time for this week's edition. Wait,
Hold
not
on.
yet. Not yet.
You're so overzealous, man.
I was trying to get you set up, man.
Well, I got
I get excited, James. All right, James, who you got?
Okay. Well, this is gonna. I'm just gonna say who it is. Okay, so you're gonna not agree with me probably again.
More than
This
likely.
guy's pretty far under the radar, but I think this guy does have a legitimate chance of being up there at the end, more than the other guy. It's Hanser Alberto from the Baltimore Orioles.
Hanser Alberto.
Hanser Alberto. Oh, I say it like that. But if you look at last year, he actually had a very good year last year. Like batted over 300. Great defensive.
Tell the listeners who he plays for.
The Baltimore Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that Charles Barkley. Who he play for?
Who he play for?
Right now, he's fourth in the league in average at 429.
2 dingers.
2 dingers, 5 RBIs, which his RBIs is not super great.
Well, they're not going to be playing for Baltimore.
Yes. His OPS is pretty high. I don't have his full stats pulled up in front of me.
On base percentage 459, OPS 1.145.
His slugging 686, which is pretty high.
He's hitting some extra base hits, getting a lot of doubles. Looks like.
Yeah, so he's not only hitting, but he's also not striking out. He has struck out 3 times this year, which is really good. I mean, you're getting on base and you're not striking out, and that's a recipe for a great season. Now, do I think he's going to regress? Obviously, he's going to regress, but I think that he legitimately is a MVP candidate. Now, maybe not like up there with Cole or these upper guys like that are just like Judge right now, but I think he'll be in the running if he just stays hot, and I think he's good enough to do it. I like him a lot. I am huge on him. If you notice, I have him in both my fantasy leagues, but that's not what's important here.
No, it's not.
So
we agree on that.
I'm glad we can agree on one thing today.
Okay.
All right. So
okay.
Now,
so if I am correct, then that leads us into this week's edition of High Heat. Now, James, you've told me a little bit about what you've got planned for today, and I think you're a little crazy. Maybe not as crazy as Wes, because 8 teams do get in the playoffs from each league this year. But James, what do you got for us?
I like crazy.
I have this year's already been crazy, but I honestly believe that the Baltimore Orioles will make the playoffs.
Now, you did not have them in the playoffs in your preseason prediction, correct?
No, and I've changed it because you got to look at the season. Like we had the Giants in last, the Orioles in last, the Tigers in last. They're all doing pretty good.
And usually that wouldn't be of any note. You'd say, "Oh, we're 10 games into the season or 12 games in, and it'll regress." But that's a 6th of the season already, or a 5th even sometimes. So yeah, it's crazy. But explain yourself, please.
It is crazy. Okay, so I looked at their stats, and I'm a huge fan of. I think a recipe for winning is not. This may shock you, Jake, because I always talk about strikeouts.
Oh.
It's not striking out and getting on base. Because if you do those 2 things, good stuff's going to happen.
The old Moneyball philosophy. Just get on
Exactly.
base. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I looked up Baltimore stats right now.
Okay.
Granted, we are 10 games into the season. So it could change. But right now, I'm just going to go through all this stuff. Okay, let me start with their pitching. They're pitching every pitching category. They're like directly in the middle of the league. So they're not going to blow anyone away with their pitching. In fact, the reason why their run differential is so bad is that they got blown out a couple times in the season, and they were barely winning games by like 2 or 3.
They lost 13-2 to Boston to start the year.
Yes, and then
they lost 9-3 to the Yankees.
Yep. So that's already a negative 11-17 right there in 2 games. And they're winning 5-4. They won 5-1. Well, I mean, they're pretty balanced. And granted, even though they're losing to Miami right now, they have at least 7 more games against the Dolphins.
They're 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters. I know what you meant. Their 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters are all hitting above 280. Hanser Alberto hitting 429.
Rio Ruiz is a stud.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jose Iglesias is hitting 526. Vegas odds right now have them at a 29% chance to make the playoffs. 8 teams do get in the league. Every division will have at least 3 teams make the playoffs except for 1. Now, James, do I think the Baltimore Orioles will make the playoffs? No.
Let me finish.
But go ahead, continue.
Okay. Okay, so hitting, they're kind of in the middle of the pack, but they've also only played 8 games. So they're a couple games behind these other people, these other teams that are ahead of them. With the only 8 games, they're 6 in doubles. They are 5th in home runs. They're 10th in RBIs, which is not very great. But in base by balls, they're 10th.
Base
Strikeouts, they are tied for the lowest amount of strikeouts in the league.
So they're putting the ball in play.
Yes, okay.
And they faced the Red Sox pitching.
What?
Yeah.
They did
the
bad
Red
against
Sox.
the Red Sox.
The Red Sox pitching is who they started against.
Yeah, they did bad against them though.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
That they've played Tampa and New York the other 5
Who have
games.
good pitching. Mm-hmm.
They're solid. Yeah.
So they're slugging. They're 3rd in slugging. They are 4th in on-base percentage and 2nd in OPS, 3rd in OPS, behind the Yankees. And actually, the White Sox lead a crap ton of categories. For that reason, with 8 teams going to the playoffs, if you don't strike out and get on base, I think you can do enough to make up for some bad pitching. Now, granted, they have horrible pitching.
They're averaging over 5 runs a game given up.
I think they're going to have – well, that's because they got – like I said, they got blew out 2 games.
Yeah, will hurt.
It inflates the stats a little bit. I think they are going to have to get a pitcher. So, I mean, I think they're going to make it. I honestly do think they're going to make it.
So who do you think they're gonna leapfrog into the playoffs? Because let's go through. We got New York and Tampa in their division, and then you got Minnesota and Cleveland, and then you got Oakland and Houston, and then maybe Chicago.
So either Chicago and So Chicago is one of those teams. Angels are one of those teams.
Angels, I don't think the Angels are going to make it.
The Angels are the team. Angels and Rangers team you bump. So you're saying that the AL West only has 2 teams.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
It could be the AL Central. I mean, the White Sox could fall off too, but right now it looks like the AL West is looking rough.
I mean, it would be the biggest turnaround that we've seen in a very long time for how bad the Orioles were last year. If they were to make the playoffs this year, granted, this is the year for it to happen because it's only 60 seasons. Now, do I see it happening? I think the Angels have a much higher chance of getting in there. The Orioles are going to have to play some tough teams this year.
But they also have to play some easy teams. They are the ones that play the Marlins more than anybody.
Yeah, they'll get to play the Marlins quite a bit, who are smoking them right now.
Yeah, well, you can't win them all.
Yeah, and they'll play the Yankees quite a bit and the Rays quite a bit. I don't sneeze on the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays are better than the Orioles, if you ask me. So I think it's going to be tough for them to get there. If there is a year that it'll happen, it'd be this year. But, I mean, let me read you their starting rotation, James.
I know. I said their pitchers are bad. I'm not.
Wade LeBlanc, Alex Cobb,
goodness.
Tommy Malone, Asher Wojciechowski, and John Means. Their ERAs are over 4, just under 3 is Alex Cobb. Tommy Malone over 5, Asher Wojciechowski over 7, and John Means 19.29.
Hey-oh.
So it's rough.
Okay,
it'll drop, of course. It'll drop.
John Means will definitely drop.
Yeah, he had a solid year last year. He only pitched 2.1 innings, gave up 5 runs. So
probably somewhere in the 10 range.
Yeah, but it's bad, and their relievers aren't much better either. But I think that I understand where you're coming from. If they can keep getting on base and pull some kind of miracle season, they could get that 8 seed. I think a lot of teams are going to be in the wheelhouse or in the area to get the 8 seed. Do I think it's the Baltimore Orioles? No, but we'll see what happens. You're not insane.
I'm not saying Oakland's going to be the World Series favorites.
He didn't say World Series favorite. He said the best record in baseball, which I also think is crazy.
Which is even worse.
Honestly, I don't know why I'm saying you're not insane. You guys are both insane. That's why this show's so great.
The Orioles in the playoffs is just as crazy. So come on. Come on.
I do not agree.
I would obviously. Think you guys are both crazy. But hey, my hot take from a couple weeks ago, Mike Clevenger is not looking so great these days either. So,
but by the way, Beaver is 3rd for the most strikeouts in 3 games. You asked that earlier.
He did drop down a bit.
He's
only had 9 today, so rough day. only getting 9 Ks.
Pull that crap together.
He's looking really good. It's exciting to watch. The only thing exciting to watch these days, Indians baseball. Mm-hmm. All right, next on the dock, we have trivia, and then we'll wrap up the show. So I'm really excited about today's trivia. I think you guys will really enjoy it. I'm bummed Toby's not here because I think that he would have enjoyed it quite a bit as well. But it is what it is. I mean, you got to be here if you want to enjoy the great stuff. I custom made all of these questions, and I just was as I was going through things that I like reading about in sports and things that I like to research, I just asked myself these questions. Like, you know what? I wonder what the answer to that is. So I found it and found the answer to these questions, and it'll be fun. So the way this is going to work is you guys will have potential to get multiple points per question, okay? And I'll be tallying up your scores throughout the trivia game, and the max that you can get in the entire event is 25 points, okay?
Like, who was the Indian second baseman in 1982?
So in 1984, the Cleveland Indians – I'm just kidding. All right, so this is as of last night, okay? The top 6 leaders in WAR, according to Baseball Reference, so far this season are all hitters but one. Shane Bieber is the only pitcher who's in the top 6. He has a WAR of .9, and he is tied with 5 other players. Who are the other top 5 players in WAR so far this season? Go ahead and think of 5 guys or write 5 names down. Discuss it with each other. You can talk about it. Start listing guys that we've talked about. All of these guys, you're going to know their names, and most of them have been discussed even today. So just think about what 5 guys think will be in here. Max potential of 6 points. 1 for if you can name all 5, and 1 extra point if you can name who is number 1. No looking at stats here.
I'm just pulling up so I can text you it.
Oh, text it to me?
Was that what we're doing?
I don't care. I trust
I'm not
you
going to
guys.
remember who I say.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll type mine in too.
You don't have to text it. You can just
Nope, texted it.
I don't know I can't see text. My phone is my
Oh,
camera.
oh crap. Well, this will be for me to know, and I'll save it.
Okay, perfect. All right. So think about some guys who have played really well so far to start the season. I'll tell you right now, there's one guy who's number 1 with a 1.0 WAR. Again, this is of yesterday. And their other 5 are all tied at 0.9 WAR. So that's through 10-ish games. You've already worth an entire win to your team, which is pretty good, if you ask me.
So we don't have to put them in order, just number 1, and then the rest just have
yes.
Okay,
yep.
Because we're tied anyway, so it doesn't matter. I only have 3 right now, so give me a second.
Oh, my
goodness gracious. Okay, I'm about to give you a 10-second countdown here.
10 seconds? I got to think of 3 more people. It took me this long to think of 3.
2 more people.
Oh, 5. Just going to put somebody.
10.
Stop, please.
9.
Please, it's going to make it worse.
5. 4. 3. 2. 1. All right. Fingers up. No more typing. You're done. So we'll see how many you can get. I will mark tallies in my little scoreboard here. So, Wes, who are your 5?
All right.
I like to one at a time, so I don't cheat, because I will take 2 of his.
Okay.
What? No. Your answers are submitted, James. I'm trusting you.
I haven't submitted 5. You didn't give me a chance to finish my last 2.
I gave you plenty of time.
Well, I told you it was going to take me a minute.
Hey, then you only get to answer 3. Sorry. It's not – you ever watch a game show? They don't give you unlimited time to answer the question.
They also don't ask you to write it down.
I never said you had to write it down.
Well, fine.
I
I'm
said
just
if you
going
can
to
just
say 2 more
remember.
people. Just go ahead. And I'm going to
Okay.
steal one of his.
All right, James, you go first.
Dang it. All right. First, I have Aaron Judge.
Okay.
Second, or the rest of them, I have.
You want me to go? We can alternate. How about that?
That's what I said earlier, and he said no.
Okay, never mind.
Because he's a loser.
No, I want James to say all of his first.
Okay, go ahead.
I have Matt Chapman, Nick. I can't say his last name. I'm not
Castellanos.
going to lie to you. Castellanos. Let's just go. I hate you so much.
Fair. I understand.
Let's go Nelson Cruz. I know it's impossible because he's a DH, but whatever.
He's been hitting really well.
Yeah, but
Okay, one more.
let's go. I'm just gonna go with somebody. Ursula. I know he's doing really well for the Yankees, but
Giovanni
I doubt he's gonna
Urshela.
go. Yeah,
Okay.
Ursula.
And then Wes, who do you have?
Okay, I have Judge as well. I have Castellanos as well.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Kyle Lewis. He's been on fire.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Mike Yastrzemski and then Hanser Alberto.
Okay, and then who was your respective number 1s?
Judge.
Both Judge. J.P. Crawford is actually at number 1 as of last
What?
night. Yep.
Nice.
Because his defense has been amazing. He's saved a lot of runs already. He's had some diving plays. So J.P. Crawford at 1. Mike Yastrzemski, Aaron Judge, Mookie Betts, Shane Bieber, and Dansby Swanson are all tied at 0.9. So, Wes, you got 2 points, and James got 1 on the first question. So let me put that on my scoreboard.
You know,
Wait, Castellanos wasn't in there?
Castellanos is not on there. He struck out a lot. He has hit 6 homers, but not a ton of hits besides that.
I thought we said Dansby had a 0.5. That's why I did it.
I was surprised. I gave you guys the hint that we had discussed.
Well, I thought you were talking. I don't know. I also almost said Mookie Betts because of that one throw, but I didn't know he was hitting this year.
All right, you guys already brought these players up. Aaron Judge and Nick Castellanos have won the first Offensive Players of the Week awards this season already. At this point, they had 6 home runs and 4 home runs respectively. Now they both have 6. I think actually 7 and 6. So Judge hit one yesterday, correct?
Yep.
I don't remember. So either way, who won the first Player of the Week awards in 2019? If you can tell me before I give you options, you will get 2 points per player. After that, you will only get 1 point per player. Who won the first Player of the Week award in 2019 for each league?
I think I know the AL.
You can tell me at any point.
I'm trying to think of his name. Dominic Santana, is it? The one from stinking Seattle that was smashing a home run every game.
Domingo Santana, that one?
Okay, that's who I said, so I'm going to go with it.
Okay.
I'm not going to guess NL just because.
You're not going to say. I'm going to give you – this isn't like usual. I'm going to give you a chance to –
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go Goldsmith.
Okay.
So we can guess without penalties?
Yeah, you can guess without penalty.
Okay. I'm just going to throw out Ronald Acuna and shoot, I don't know. George Springer.
Okay. I can tell you that neither of you were correct on any of them. What that needs me, one of your guys that you mentioned though were an option for one of my fake answers, so I do need to change that really quick. Give me one moment here.
Who was it?
Acuna.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed him anyways. He's
Good
always.
thing we could take that one out.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Give me one moment. I have to think of somebody else.
There's literally hundreds of people. Oh, you can't choose someone in 10 seconds. You're out of here.
I'm just trying to think. Jeez, get off my back.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. So here are my options for you guys. Tim Beckham and Christian Yelich, Mike Trout and Cody Bellinger, Tim Beckham and Juan Soto, Austin Meadows and Christian Yelich, Joey Gallo and Cody Bellinger. What I will tell you, all of these guys were Player of the Week award winners last year.
Wait, so did you go AL, NL every time? Or did
AL,
you
NL. You have to choose one of the pairs. You have to choose one of the
Can
pairs.
you give us like AL in a row and then NL in a row?
Okay, here are your AL options. Tim Beckham, Mike Trout, Austin Meadows, and Joey Gallo. Your NL options are Christian Yelich, Cody Bellinger, Juan Soto.
I got my answer, but I will let him go first because I went first last time.
You're a gentleman.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I am.
I'm going to go with Austin Meadows and Christian Yelich.
I'm going to go Gallo and Bellinger.
It was Tim Beckham and Christian Yelich. You were right about Seattle Mariners, James. It was just the wrong player, not Domingo Santana.
He picked – oh, yeah.
Yep, Tim Beckham was off to a hot start last year as well as Christian Yelich. So, Wes, you have another point. That gives you 3 total, and James got 0 on that one. Now, here's my favorite question of the entire event. It's kind of a layup, but there's a lot of potential points for you here. So get your pens out. 2020 will bring multiple previous MVPs of different teams in Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Josh Donaldson, and Mookie Betts, and maybe some others that I forgot. While big things are expected for all of these players this season, it's very rare that a player wins the MVP on his second team or on a new team. Who were the last 3 players, the last player in each of the 3 major sports to achieve the feat? You get 1 point for each guy. And you get bonus points if you can tell me each year that player has won an MVP. So go ahead and take some time to write down your answers on your own and think of the years that they did it.
So you want 3 guys, correct?
Yep, one guy from each league, the most recent person to win the MVP on 2 teams on each in the NBA, NFL, and MLB. And then what years have they won the MVP?
All right.
All right. So we will let you guys name your players first. Wes, what players do you have? Okay, we'll just do MLB first. Wes, who do you have for MLB?
Alex Rodriguez.
James, is that who you had?
Nope.
Who'd you have?
I had no idea. I said Justin Verlander. I don't even know if he's won the MVP.
He has never won MVP. He's won Cy Young for 2 teams, though.
Okay, well, I got that wrong.
Okay. And then, so that's 1 point to
So it is A-Rod?
James. It was A-Rod, yes. He won the MVP for the Rangers as well as the Yankees. What about for the NBA, James?
I did LeBron James.
LeBron James, correct, for the Cavaliers and the Miami Heat. Did you have that as well, Wesley?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, I thought that KD had won one for the Thunder and the Warriors, but he didn't win one with the Warriors.
NBA Finals MVP.
That's what I was
But
thinking.
he had one with Thunder.
Mm-hmm. And then what about the NFL, James?
I did Peyton Manning.
Correct. Peyton Manning has one with the Colts and the Broncos. And Wes?
Peyton Manning.
Okay. Now, do you guys have your years written down for the players?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because I want to make sure that I give you credit where it's due.
Now, I don't have it for A-Rod, but I'm just going to throw a number out there just because.
Okay.
So, yeah. Go ahead.
I will tell you how many. Oh, should I do that or not? Do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to tell you guys how many each player won, or do you want to just guess on your own?
Just guess on our own.
Just guess.
Okay. All right. So you guys have them written down. You're not going to copy each other.
Okay, so you want us to put both years?
Every year that they won an MVP.
Oh, shoot.
If you won multiple years.
I did not do that.
Well, I
did
just
most
picked
recent.
their most recent after they switched teams.
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
too.
that's fine. That's fine. I wanted to see if you
Okay.
guys could guess as many as possible.
So can I guess A-Rod too? Just the years? Since I got it wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Let me know when you're ready, because like I said, I can cut all this out. We're not in a rush.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Go for it.
Wes, go ahead and give your guesses for Alex Rodriguez.
So you said he won multiple, so I'm going to go 03.
Well, all of them won at least 2.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say 03 and 07. And then you want me to go for LeBron?
We'll
just
let James do American League first.
Okay.
Alex Rodriguez.
Let's go 2002
Okay.
and 2009.
Okay. And then James, you go LeBron James first.
2015 and 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go with that. I don't know how many times he's actually won it. Probably 3.
Or Wes.
I was going to go 2013 and 2016, actually.
And finally, we have Wes lead off with Peyton Manning.
2013. That's 2012. I don't know. That was I only had the 2013 one.
Okay. And then James.
I actually didn't have 2013. I had 2012 and 2007.
Oh, okay. So I will go ahead and tell you now. Wes, you got 4 years correct. James, you got none.
Holy crap, Wes.
Alex Rodriguez won MVP in 03 with the Rangers, and he won in 05 and 07 with the Yankees. LeBron James won it in 08, 09. I'll just say 09 with the Cavs, as well as 2010 with the Cavs. And then he ended up winning the MVP as well with the Heats twice in 12 and 13. And then he never won in 15 and 17. Peyton Manning then won it 4 times with the Colts in 03, 04, 08, and 09, as well as winning the MVP with the Broncos in 13 when he had 56 touchdowns or something like that. So there was a lot of potential points. There's 15 total points in that question.
I absolutely blew at trivia.
And Wes got 7 in that question, and James got 2. So that makes our final score 3-11. So, Wes, congratulations. You are widened your lead between yourself and James, as you now have 4.5 points. James has 2, and Toby has 1.5. I'd love to get involved in this trivia someday. I might have to make
the only reason I thought of A-Rod in 03 is because he was on the cover of 2004 Slugfest.
Yeah.
So.
MLB Slugfest 2004. You go on, catch the ball, when you're after you hit a home run, your batter goes up to the plate with his bat on fire. And he walks up there, and then you beat him, and he just goes and catches it and throws it back at the pitcher. That was a great game, man. I love that game. I used to play Slugfest so much. And then if you got on base and the first baseman had the ball, you could start punching him and knock it out of his glove and run to second. That was great. Oh, I loved that game so much. And your player would like gain 2% power for his next at bat if like he hit somebody.
Classic.
My brother would beat me. I would get so many more hits than him and like pitch better, but he would just run around the base pass and hit my guys and just beat me that way. What a great game. Well, that wraps up the show for today, unless any of you guys had some very pressing stats you wanted to give or stories. It's been a long show.
Well, today's just real quick. Today is the 27 years anniversary of where Nolan Ryan beat the Mets out of Robin Ventura.
Yes, thank you very much. Nolan Ryan, my favorite, second favorite all-time pitcher after Bob Feller.
After Bieber.
Justin Bieber. Nolan Ryan, the GOAT, had what was his name? Say it again.
Robin Ventura.
Yes, Robin Ventura come out and decide to charge the mound, to which he then puts him in a chokehold and just pummels him. It was great. Oh, what a mistake. Worst mistake of his life. But yeah, that has been the show for today. And here, coming up right now, is our new outro song, which we don't know what it is. But thanks for listening so much to the show and watching and going through this long show. Hopefully you broke it up into 2 different segments, watched one part one day and the next part the next day. Go ahead and do that. It's free. No one's saying you can't do it. You don't have to listen and watch all at once. So, all right, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week. Go watch some baseball.